Hey guys, it's Chris. I just want to show you, because sometimes people wonder if we have Lambos in Korea, and yes we do. This is actually a Lambo SUV. Would you get this thing? So it's an orange Lambo SUV. I'm not saying it's a bad car or anything, but I'm sure these aren't cheap. But this is what it is, and they do make them, and they do have them in Korea. Actually here though, which is interesting about these kind of cars, is if you want to get a Lambo SUV here, the taxes are really high. It's going to be higher than in USA, and so the people who buy the things here, they either are wasting all of their money or they really have a lot of money. So, you know, and you never know for sure for that kind of thing. Hi friends, if you're looking for some holiday reading or a gift for someone you care about, pick up a copy of my book, Positive Angle. It's available on Amazon and you can get a copy today. So we live in the financial district in Busan, and in fact, some of our neighbors have Lambos. And I wanted to continue our discussion about cars, Lambos, Cybertrucks, money, these kind of things, because I think it's an important topic. And I had noticed in many of the comments this week that some people get like really emotional over these kind of things. And I understand, you know, if you are heavily invested in this stuff, be it your stock, be it, you know, you're buying said truck, and like, you know, people question that kind of thing, it can be really harrowing. The thing I want to say with you guys though is that if you're making financial decisions based purely on emotion, it is not a great way to have financial success. And so I always try to bring some calmness and logic to your world, and hopefully some reasonability that we can have these conversations together. So the first thing I want to say is that for any kind of vehicle purchase, these kind of things, if you can play cash, and this is a small portion of your net worth, go for it, by all means. No trouble, right? You got the cash, you got the capital, you are doing great, fantastic. However, if you are buying said things, be it the Cybertruck, be it the Lambo, etc., to impress other people, and moreover, you are doing so that puts you in a financially risky situation, it's not a great formula for success. And unfortunately, this is very real, guys. A lot of people fall for this trap. Because what happens is that, you know, you think to yourself, we all think it, plus I really know, you're gonna buy this car and you're gonna show all your friends at work. You're like, oh, Roger's gonna love this thing. Jill's gonna ask me on a date, or I'm gonna ask her and she'll say yes, these kind of things. Like you're already kind of thinking about how your friends and coworkers will react. Moreover, let's say your coworker goes out and buys a Cybertruck, buys a Lambo, you know, and when you guys say, because sometimes I'll read in comments, oh, Chris, you don't know cars, you don't know the market, that kind of stuff. It's like, I really know, guys. When I see my neighbors have these things, like, I really know. Is that, like, you know, you have to always ask yourself, you know, if so-and-so got said vehicle, maybe I should be getting said vehicle because I work hard, I deserve it, right? That person works hard, maybe they deserve it too, and like, I don't want them to have fun without me, right? Why are they so deserving to have fun of this new vehicle, but I am not, you know? And one of the things I want to share with you guys is a very important thing, is that you never know another person's financial situation. You have no idea. You never know for sure, right? So another person could be putting all this stuff on credit, and they could putting themselves at a terrible, terrible risk. And this is something that happens to USA, to Americans, is that like they kind of see their neighbors buying said, you know, bad things. And what I mean by bad is like they can't afford it, right? But because everyone's doing it, you just feel like, well, I mean, who cares about affordability? Everyone else is doing it, therefore I should do it too, right? Or even if all of your neighbors and your friends can afford it, does that mean necessarily you have to follow them? And I kind of call this, say, the high school mentality, the social media mentality. It's just peer pressure is very real. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can all fall into this kind of trap. Now, here's my personal opinion. I told you already before, if you have the cash, it's a small percentage of net worth, by all means, go for it, right? Have fun. But generally speaking, when it comes to money, these kind of things, you know, my beliefs, and we talked about this before in an earlier video, say with Charlie Munger, he's like, yo, money isn't necessarily about buying Ferraris, it's about buying freedom. And I think that's a really great perspective to take. Moreover, I like to think about, you know, if I'm going to spend a couple $100,000, and that's sort of what these Lambo SUVs are, or the Cybertruck is like $100,000, I would rather use that money to buy assets that are going to grow in value. Generally speaking, when you buy a car, it's not going to grow in value. It's going to go down in value. Moreover, you're going to have to pay for maintenance, you have to pay for insurance, and all of these kind of things. And this is also very real, especially with the Lambos, guys. This is a serious thing. And it's funny because like people who've never really thought about this that deeply, maybe don't know, but if that thing gets scratched in any way, shape, or form, like just small thing like paint, like you got to take it to a special place to get it fixed, etc. And the costs are enormous. Tires are horribly expensive, this kind of stuff. And it's like the list goes on and on and on and on. And it's not just the initial cost of the car, it's continuing ownership on these kind of things. And so this is something I want you to be thinking about logically, not emotionally. And I want to give you another example of how emotions and money sort of create a lot of stress and get a lot of people in trouble. So this is a common scenario that happens, is that you may have a parent who's, like 70, 80, 90, these kind of things. And in the past, they used to work, right? They were young, they were sprite, they were raising you, you grew up in the house, etc. And as they get older through time, right, they've retired now, they got a pension, they got Social Security, these kind of things. But because their income generally is fixed, inflation is killing a lot of people. I mean, guys, I really know, right? Food's up, energy's up. In some locations of the US, like say Florida, housing insurance is like horribly expensive, right? Homeowners insurance. And it's hard to sort of manage that, especially when you're on a fixed income. And so for many people, they're in a current situation that in the past, they could totally afford, no problem. But in the current state, it's just not working out, right? The numbers aren't there. But emotionally, they're really tied and invested in that home, because I really understand that, because the general gist of it is that, you raised everyone there, and that's sort of where, right, everyone grew up, and you don't want to, leave. You want to essentially die there. And I know it's like, talk about a little bit more about dying, but that's essentially what people want to do. And the thing is that this is something that I was talking about before earlier, where you don't want to make decisions based on emotions. You want to do it based on logic and reason and stuff like that. Is just do the math. Sit down calmly and just do the math. Talking about, say, ownership of a car, ownership of a home, just do the math. Are you coming out net positive every month? Are you able to afford it, right? Not talking about emotion at all, right? Because I get it, right? You really want that sports car. You really want that Cybertruck. You really want to stay in the family home. You've been there for years, but maybe the math doesn't work out, okay? And this is a hard conversation that you have to have with many people. But again, don't let emotion rule the way you make financial decisions. And I know this stuff is extremely emotional for people, because this is also very real. When I read through comments and all these kind of things, and like people get upset, they're like, Chris, what are you talking about? $100,000 for a Cybertruck is a steal. It is a fantastic deal, because the truck is actually worth $200,000, and in fact, I'm saving $100,000 by buying it today. And people actually sort of convince themselves of these kind of things, and they know it's BS deep down. And what happens is that, say, someone like myself comes out and says, hey, that's totally BS. They get upset because they become so emotionally invested in this. And also too, we're talking about money involved, right? They've made a decision, and moreover, because for many people, they've made the decision to purchase a vehicle because they want to impress other people. And if it's not of obtaining their goal of impressing other people, it kind of defeats the purpose of buying the thing in the first place, right? Like if you buy the car to impress the girl, and then you drive up and you show up and you ask her on a date, etc., and she's not impressed by the car, then you're like, oh, why did I spend all this money on the car in the first place, right? These kind of things. So guys, I want you to enjoy your life. I totally do. And I hope you understand, like, sort of the talks that we have is about enjoyment life, but just in a different way of thinking about it. I want you to be always in control and not letting emotions control you. So I do appreciate your time. Please share your thoughts on these kind of things. And hey, you know what? I'm going to continue this conversation no matter what other channels say. And I know other channels are all about getting that Lambo, but you can get it if you can pay cash. And that's all I have to say about that. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next video.